Hey speakers, we're going to go ahead and get into it. So go ahead and like and subscribe and let's get started. Good evening, my speaker fam. How's everyone doing? Hopefully everyone has had a wonderful Wednesday. It is hump day. Now, of course, as you see in my thumbnail, what we will be going over here. Now, of course, I was supposed to come out with another video or drop another video in reference to Love and Marriage Huntsville, which I do plan to do a little later, but this has really had me in my feelings all day. When I literally say I got off at 5:45 and it's 6:10 now, and I'm recording this because all day long, this is the only thing that I could focus on. And so I decided that this, right now, this is a little bit more important than, what we typically see here on the channel. But I also just wanted my speakers to, be informed about what needs to be done moving forward with this, because the fight can't be over. This can't be over. Now, before we dive a little deeper into everything, please everyone go ahead and like the video, share the video. Also, subscribe to the channel, turn on the notification bell so you'll always be notified when another video is uploaded. And we're going to go ahead and get into it. Now, of course, we are all familiar with the unaliving of Shanquella Robinson that took place back in October. It may have been October, November. She went over to Mexico with who she thought was friends, 6 people whom she thought was friends of hers. Come to find out, yeah, Lord, I'm not going to even use those words. Please forgive me, y'all, throughout this video, because this has me on edge. This has me in my feelings, and the way I'm feeling right now, you would think that I knew her personally or if I was her mother, but I am speaking from a mother's standpoint. I have 4 girls, 4 older girls that like to travel with their friends, like to, have fun. However, one thing I can say, thank God, is pretty much a lot of, my children's friends are friends they've had for a long time, but yet and still, I do have my 19-year-old that, she is, I'm not going to say friendly, but she tends to, cling to other people. And since this story has broke, I have really, really been on her as well as my other kids that you can't trust everybody. Everybody is not to be trusted. And so here we are here today, which everyone pretty much has been following the case. I know that I had spoke on it a couple of times, when it happened, but I kind of, stood back to see, what was going to take place, because this is one of these type of stories. You don't want to put out false news. You don't want to put out false narratives and come up with some type of conspiracy theory. I'm not that type of person. So pretty much I just kind of watched the case closely. Now I did I kind of kept in close contact and watched the NC beat. He always kept up with it. He pretty much was the one that brought us majority of the information and pretty made it public to everyone. And had it not been, and even her lawyer is going to say in a recording that I'll play, that had it not been for social media, we may have never even knew anything about this, because this was something I think that everybody probably thought was going to happen. And, they come back, have the burial service for this young lady, and it was just going to be over with. But because of, I'm going to give props where props is due to Gerald and the NCB, he put his feet to the ground and put it out there that this is what is transpiring, this is what's going on, and we pretty much been following it since then. Now, a couple of weeks ago, we saw where Ben Crump had been hired on or had taken on the task as a family lawyer to bring justice, and they were going to meet up in Washington, D.C. and present it to the House and see what they could do to go ahead, because Mexico put the ball in our court for us to move forward as the U.S. to make an arrest. And what do we do? What did we do? And here we are today. So I'm gonna read just a little clip if you had not already seen it. And it basically says the U.S. Attorney Office in North Carolina announced Wednesday authorities will not pursue criminal charges in the United States in the unaliving of Shanquella Robinson, and the FBI federal prosecutors have completed their investigation into the unaliving. It is unclear how or if this will impact the request extradition of the traveling companion Mexican authorities issued and a arrest warrant for last year. Robinson, 25, was unalived in October under suspicious circumstances a day after she arrived in Cabo, Mexico. She was on vacation with 6 people. The FBI opened an investigation into her unaliving in November. Robinson's story had went viral, and Mexican authorities had issued an arrest warrant for femicide similar to homicide for Dejanay Jackson, one of the 6 travelers, according to the lawyer for her family, Benjamin Crump, and Sue Ann Robinson. The lawyers wrote a letter to the White House in March citing information from Mexican prosecutors. U.S. officials on Wednesday made clear Jackson is not a criminal suspect after the FBI investigation, but did not specify the Department of Justice or Department of State position on the extradition. The Department of Justice met with Robinson family and attorneys Wednesday morning and told them it has completed its investigation. This wording is horrible. Has completed the investigation, will not prosecute any of the 6 suspects. Sue Ann Robinson, not related to Shanquella Robinson, has planned a meeting with supporters and media in Charlotte for Wednesday afternoon. And pretty much it kind of went on, nothing to, but I will kind of play what Miss Robinson had to say in reference to that. And again, I'm going to call it BS. How you completed an investigation? How did you complete an investigation that there was videos that everyone, I even heard someone that lived in Africa had saw the video of the attack that took place on Shanquella Robinson. You had videos. You even had witnesses that were, working there at the actual resort where they, where everything took place. They recanted everything that, not recanted, but pretty much they gave details on everything that transpired from the time they got there until the time she was unalived, up until the time that the other 6 disappeared. They thought they were still there and pretended like they were still there, but come to find out, they were back on a plane going back to North Carolina. So I'm trying to understand, how is it that your investigation is complete when autopsies have also showed that she had a broken spine, also said she had swelling of the brain. So you put that together with the video of the assault and you complete, and no arrest is going to be made. And we all know that originally it was, they lied and made up a story that she had alcohol poison, which we come to find out that was not true. So what do they feel like she did? Fell out the bed? I'm just trying to make sense of all of this. And this is here where we have to call a thing a thing. I'm so sorry if I, upset anyone, offend anyone, or however it go. But this is what we call a thing a thing. They have failed us yet again. I'm not the one or the type of person that do this colorism thing, because I don't do that, because I will be the first to tell you they got some ignorant blacks, some ignorant clears, some ignorant people, period. So I'm not one of them. I'm not one of them. It is what it is. But at the same time, you have to call it for how we're looking at it from our standpoint. The other month, a couple of months ago, someone else came in, I don't know her name, respect to her and her family. She was lost or something to that nature. Baby, they put the feet to the ground and they had this woman, and it was just swiftly. Everything was done. Yeah, it was, yeah, all good. But here it is 5-6 months later, and they've been dragging their feet, coming up with all this. We're looking into it, we're investigating it. And then for you to come and say here today that it's complete, what's complete about it? So in these 5-6 months, what have you done? Have you even called? We haven't even heard where any one of these 6 people have been called in for questioning. We haven't heard anything in reference to what do any of these people have to say about this, because what it's looking like to me is basically the US has pretty much just painted a picture to everyone here in the US. Oh, if you don't like somebody, befriend them, go on over there to Mexico, unalive them, and come on back home. You'll be all right. We just gonna call it for what it is. We're gonna call it for what it is. We're not gonna, skip around the bush with it. Hopefully, everyone in here is 18 or older. But it looks as though to me that if you don't like someone, you have a problem with them, you don't want them here on God's green earth no more, just take them on over there to Mexico and do what you got to do and come on back. This is so, oh my God, like this is like in your face disrespect. And I can't help but to wonder, had it been one clear person and 4 people of color and 2 other clear people, would the investigation be complete? Had it been a woman, a clear person, been unalived by 4 women of color and 2 maybe clear other people, I call it male, female, I don't know. Would it have went the same way? Would the investigation be, any different? Would it be complete? And again, I'm not one of these ones that play the color game. I'm not one of these ones that come up with this conspiracy theory, because they get on my nerves. But I'm going to just call it for what I see it. I wonder, would this be any different? But again, this is another situation that kind of make me so mad about us as people of color is we tend to throw rocks and hide our hands and want to fight and argue amongst each other. But when it's time to fight for justice or fight against those other people, we all kind of back up like a crawfish and to wait to see what's going to happen. Let's call it for what it is. Let's just come on. Because here it is today. We had this to be publicized, and yet and still I was scrolling up Facebook and you still see the hurtful comments coming from the pick-me's over there dealing with Love and Marriage Huntsville. You still posting that riffraff, and the only thing you should have been only thing that should have kind of been on your mind is this child and her family that today have found out that there will be no justice for her. As a mother, as a parent, as a sister, as a cousin, as of just a human, if your heart didn't ache for this family, something clearly is not right. Something clearly is not right. Now, again, we're going to hear in the video where Suzanne is pretty much going to say that it is not over. They're going to continue to fight because, of course, in similar other cases, such as George Floyd, family had to take it a step further. So this is not the end. And sometimes I believe that when you're dealing with a certain group of people, they automatically feel that you're not, I'm not going to say educated enough, but they feel that you don't have the means of going as far as you possibly can to get the justice that you need. And sometimes in some cases, it don't happen. But in this case, I can only say, thank God that they are willing to continue the fight and they're not giving up. They're not giving up, because just imagine those 6 people are walking around wherever they are, happy-go-lucky. This probably was the best day of their life. So they think, because God don't sleep. And you might can slide under this radar, but you'll never slide under the radar of the Creator. And if you had any involvement with this, your day is coming. Karma has a way of spinning the block, and you don't know when it's going to happen. If you find yourself in trouble 2 weeks from now and wind up having to serve a sentence, oh, you think you serving it for that, but now you really serving it for this. Nothing goes unnoticed. So, and again, I my prayers go out to her family, because I can't even begin to even, it's hard to even speak about, think about, or any of that, because if you have children, you have to let them grow up. My grandmother used to always say, when children are babies, they're on your lap, but when they're grown-ups, they're on your heart. And that is so true. Look, you tend to worry about them more when they're adults than when they were 10, because you had a little more control. You could put your hands on them. But when they're older, you have to let them live life. And the only thing we could do is pray that God covered them going and coming. And in this situation, I'm pretty sure her mother did that, until these 6 cowards decide to take matters in their own hands. Now, do I feel that they meant to do what they did? Probably not. They probably didn't think it would go this far, but it did. It did. And you can't erase it, can't take it back. So I'm going to go ahead and play some of that press conference that she did earlier today after they had met up. And she's kind of low, so hopefully y'all will be able to hear it. Of course, it's going to be a couple of ads that'll be played. I'll try to hurry up and skip over it as quickly as I can. But let's go ahead and listen to that.
All right, everyone ready? Great afternoon. I want to take this opportunity to welcome all of the Charlotte local news media this afternoon to Little Rock AM Zion Church. Thank you for thanking it not robbery to come and join this family, and attorney Sue Ann Robinson. And on behalf of Pastor Walker, well, the family, we say thank you to Pastor Walker and the Little Rock AM Zion Church for opening up the doors and allowing this to take place this afternoon. I am Mario Black, founder of Million Youth March Charlotte and Salisbury, and we're going to go ahead and get started with this afternoon. I'm going to bring up attorney Sue Ann Robinson.
Okay, everybody, thank you again. Thank you, Mario. Thank you for having us, Pastor. We really, truly appreciate it. We're here today. Obviously, everyone knows that the FBI has released their statement indicating that they don't plan on filing any charges after investigating Shanquella's case. So we're here today. We're disappointed, but we're not deterred. It's not something that's necessarily unexpected, in the sense that Black and brown people always have to carve their own path to justice. Today, just sitting in the meeting with the family, listening to what we were being advised, and listening to what the so-called investigation was revealing, I thought back to Miss Wanda, Ahmaud's mother, who had to take her case to the state attorney's office and had to beg for charges to be pressed in the death of her son. And I remembered Sandra Bland's mother, who had to do the same thing when they told us all that an investigation revealed that her cause of death was suicide. And I think most about in Shanquella's case, because her attack was captured on video, and now we're being told that there isn't going to be an arrest, or there aren't going to be any charges brought. It reminds me of George Floyd, and how we were told that while we were watching with our own eyes, Derek Chauvin putting his knee on his neck for 8 minutes and 46 seconds, we were being told that he was having a heart attack and that he was suffering from a drug overdose. So while we're here disappointed, we're not deterred. We're going to continue to press on. We're going to continue to demand that there's a high level of diplomatic intervention in this case, that if the U.S. authorities are now again telling us, oh, well, it's back on Mexico because Mexican authorities have to do something, we don't have a problem with that. We know that we have to carve our own path to justice, and we've been doing that from the very beginning. Mrs. Robinson has demonstrated tremendous strength, and I talk about it all the time, as well as Kola, her sister, having to bury a child, grieve for a child, get through all of that stuff, and then fight for justice for your child at the same time. And then being advised today, well, despite there being a video showing a vicious and brutal attack of your child while she's naked and obviously not fighting back, that there is nothing that can be done in terms of charges being filed by the FBI, that you have to seek your redress and your justice somewhere else. And that's fine. Mrs. Robinson, again, is obviously disappointed, as is all the family at the meeting today. But we're not deterred. We're still going to be marching. We're still going to rally in D.C. on May 19th, because it shouldn't be that in this country that Black women, Black and brown victims of crime have to do this every time they are victims of crimes. But it is unfortunately what it is. And again, any discrepancies or any issues with respect to Mexican autopsy versus the autopsy conducted by the FBI, all of those things are going to be a result of a delay.
Are you having trouble paying for rent, gas, groceries, and other bills? If you are, you have to see this. I'm getting 12.
And now we're witnessing the result of a delay, which is why there was always a concern, which is why I always say this is the people's case. This is the people's movement that said, hey, there's no reason why a Black woman should go on vacation with her friends, be returned to her family in a box, and nothing be done for 5 months. That the FBI be permitted to sit on their hands, that they be permitted to say, we're working, because justice delayed can be justice denied. We all know that and have seen it time and time again. And so that's why I say, on behalf of the family, again, we're very disappointed, very deeply disappointed. But we're not deterred, because it's something that we've seen before, and we know that we have to carve our own path to justice. Ms. Robinson knew that when she asked me to go on a fact-finding mission to Mexico, that we were obviously in a state of affairs where there's two different justice systems in America. And we know that in ours, we have to fight for our justice. We have to rally for our justice. We have to beg for the same constitutional rights. And Shanquella is doing that even in death. Even in death, she's having to fight for her rights as a U.S. citizen, as a victim of a crime. The U.S. authorities have to understand and have to know that even if for them it's not about Shanquella, that United States citizens cannot go to Mexico, commit a crime that we all saw on a video, and then come back to America and say, we're on base, we're safe, we're not going to be charged with a crime. That cannot be the message that the U.S. authorities want to send. So again, discrepancies caused, or discrepancies in the autopsy results between Mexican authorities that we've all been discussing, unfortunately, and not being discussed by the right individuals, have all been caused by delays. If it had been taken serious from the very beginning, if the internet and the people and social media didn't have to create the movement behind the case, and the authorities would have gotten involved the minute the video surfaced, there wouldn't have been a delay. There would have been immediate statements taken from the individuals involved. There would have been time to take an immediate autopsy of the body before it was embalmed. All of those things would have been done, but because it was the death of a young, Black, beautiful, brilliant, educated woman who was on vacation, justice was delayed. There was no investigation done. It was not taken seriously until the people had to say, hey, We're not going to accept that this is just what it is. This can't be just what it is. We see with our own eyes an attack, an assault, a crime happening, and nothing's being done. That came from you all. That came from the people saying, we demand answers. And today we actually ended up with way more questions than answers. And so that's why I'm determined and fully aware, and the team, Ben Crump, Tanika Mallory, Untold Freedom, Mario Black, all of us, we stand with this family, and we're going to stand with this family till the very end. And we're going to be in Washington, and we're going to rally because we understand, unfortunately, what the job is, what the work is, and that we have to carve our own path to justice in these cases. And we've seen it time and time again. And I've said it in other press conferences. I would like to be put out of this line of business. I don't want to be here on behalf of another beautiful Black family begging for dignity and respect and basic constitutional rights. I don't want to be doing those things. But that is what it is right now. We have two separate justice systems, where one is, if you're a victim of a crime and you look a certain way, it's going to be covered by the media. It's going to be resolved in a certain way. And then we have our cases where we have to have press conferences and rallies, and we have to beg the government to intervene. And that's not okay. And that's why it's the most important work of our time. And so we're disappointed. We're not deterred. We're pressing on. We absolutely will keep you guys updated on everything that we're doing.
Okay. And pretty much that was the gist of the press conference. And as she stated, they're not going to be deterred. They're not going to allow what man say to dictate what steps God has ordered them to take to get justice for Shanquella. As you heard, that they will be meeting up in Washington, D.C. on May 19th. I have reached out to Gerald to find out a little bit more information. I'm very, very interested in going. If any of my subscribers would be interested in going, we can do an official meet and greet in DC or however. But I would love to be a part of this, because this is something that we have to not just talk about, but be about as well. So if anyone is interested in going as well, please reach out to me via email, Instagram, and let me know if you would be able to attend, if you would like to attend. However, I am going to try my very best to be there. I am, like I said, I reached out to Gerald to see if he had any more information on the more details in reference to it, because this is where we have to come together and fight for what's right. And it starts with us. It starts with us. And, like, again, I am a mother. I can't imagine the feeling that the mother has been feeling since October, but even more so here on today, knowing that word has been put out that the people that are responsible for unaliving her child is saying scot free for now, because God has the last say so. Again, that was it. I had to bring some light to this because it really, really had me bothered. Y'all, please comment down below. Just let me know how you feel about this. Let me know if you'll be able to attend. I know it is May 19th in Washington, D.C., where they're going to walk on D.C. If you're not able, of course, that's totally, totally understandable. Of course, but if you are, I would love to meet, my subscribers. We could do a meet and greet, maybe plan something for the day, have lunch, however. But the most important thing, we can go and put our feet to the ground and help and support and to fight for justice for Shanquella. So again, y'all, thank y'all so much. Again, leave your comments down below. If you haven't already, go ahead and hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, become a part of the family. No judgment zone, drama free. And we just like to have a good time. But when times like this, I would, hope that we all, as subscribers, that we would all stick together and do what's right and find justice for this young lady. No one deserves this. No one deserves this. And so again, y'all, I will be uploading another video a little later on here. Got to go and kind of do some wifely household duties real quick. Then I'll be back on making another video and uploading that. Hopefully I can drop that on tonight. But until then, have a good evening. See you guys later. Love each and every one of you. Bye-bye.